I had the opportunity to read through the book. And then I started looking, what is an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? Then I looked at, and then I am told that entrepreneur is the etymology is really from a French word. And it says something like entendre. The word entrepreneur seems to have come from that word. And in French it means undertaker. Undertaker means don't go to the extreme levels. Undertaker is the person who undertakes a job. And an entrepreneur is defined as somebody who manages to put together a business activity, and more importantly, he assumes the risk for it. A lot of people may be putting together business activities, but assuming the risk is the key thing about the entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is supposed to be a person who is innovative, who is able to be resourceful, and is also resolute. In a man who can dream and convert the dream into reality. All of us dream, and dream plenty. But there are only very few people who are able to dream and probably go through the motion of putting it into reality and succeed in putting it into reality. These are the characteristics of an entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is something which really brings with it tremendous amount of good things for the entrepreneur, for the country, and for the product, and for the customers. And therefore entrepreneurship is considered a very noble trait, a noble service, and a noble calling. And you will be quite surprised that in India, for every 1,000 people, 244 people, this is the government statistics, are self-employed. This number is a fairly large number. Nearly 25% of those who are in India, they are all self-employed. Self-employed means that most of them are in some sort of a business of small kind, trading, etc., and then they put together a business and then they fend for themselves, assume the risk, and make a living out of it. In many ways, they all can be considered as entrepreneurs of one kind or other. Generally, the minute we call entrepreneur, we have, we tend to equate it with these so-called startups. Now, the startup is a new word that has come into our dictionary in the last year or two, and then all the newspapers, they are all about startups. Not all startups need to be successful. And startups are not only the entrepreneurial activities. The man who runs a shop and then fends for himself and then works for 7 days and then makes some money out of it and makes a living, he is also, by definition, an entrepreneur. And I think, as you know, that India has come a long way in the last about 25 years or so, right from 1991 to when we started our reforms to this 2016, where a lot of entrepreneurial skills have been encouraged and by the various actions of the government. These reforms are meant to really bring the best out of people in terms of innovation, in terms of initiative, in terms of skills. All this has happened. If you really look at the last 25 years, India has moved a long way, and it has created many entrepreneurial activities. The GDP, VIswanathan, in 1991 was about $1,000. I'm talking about the PPP, the purchase power parity basis. It has moved to somewhere around $6,000 as of now. It has grown something like 6 times in the last 25 years, mainly because of a lot of entrepreneurial activities of various individuals, various corporations, and what all they have done. Therefore, to a large extent, I think to be a successful entrepreneur, as per our author, Mr. Vishwanathan, I must also say a few things about our author. Our author is a very, very accomplished man. He's not only well educated, I think he is educated and he had his MBA from St. Louis, Missouri, and then Columbia, and then he's born into an entrepreneurial family. He's a scion of an entrepreneurial family, and then he's not only well educated, he's very erudite. He has mastered the Sanskrit language. He can speak for hours in Sanskrit language. Only we may not be able to understand, but he can speak, absolutely. And then he has really done considerable amount of research in Kathopanishad. If you go to the YouTube and look for his name, and there is a big presentation by him. I think he gives word by word the text, the meaning, as well as his interpretation of it, and he's that kind of a person. And then when he writes a book, these books always are somewhat abstract, somewhat esoteric, meaning that they are more captivating to an enlightened soul. And I am not one. Therefore, I had some difficulty in understanding the entire book as what he says. But what he means is that if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you must be having the divine blessings. He says that divinity and divine blessings are necessary for a good entrepreneur to really flourish in what he does. He says merely an education, merely the tools of management will not get you ultimate success in your entrepreneurial activity. We all had some difficulty in really accepting what he said. At least I had. Basically, we were all told that hard work gets you to a large extent success. We also know that we need luck. And we also know that luck can also be called as some divine grace. All this we understand. But to say that you may not be able to succeed at all without that luck is something which is somewhat difficult to accept for a modern mind. I'm not saying I'm modern, but I have difficulty in accepting his statement. I have difficulty in not accepting his statement as well. For example, luck has been defined by several people in several ways. I think Thomas Jefferson, the American president, said that I have great belief in luck. And strangely, the harder I work, the luckier I become. On the other extreme end, Serena Williams, who just now equaled the record of Steffi Graf, she said, I don't believe in luck. I work for it. I spend hours and hours in the court for that one fraction of a second when I can clinch a point. Luck is not in my dictionary. That's what Serena Williams has said. Therefore, this luck is, or the divine grace is interpreted by several people in several ways. But we all agree that some kind of a divine grace or intervention is required for us to succeed. Even Rajinikanth's all movies are not successful. I don't know about Kabali and all that, but as I understand, I think not all his movies have been very successful, despite the fact that it is Rajinikanth. Personally, we did so well in many businesses, and then we went to Orissa and we made a huge investment and we failed very miserably. This is at the time when we were in the peak of our business, and we thought that going to Orissa and setting up something is a cakewalk. And more recently, we acquired something in Tirunelveli, and we have struggled to make it work and then turn it around. Therefore, I also realized in business, not every activity of yours is for the same man. For some activity, he has got a divine grace, for some he doesn't have. Therefore, obviously, this divinity also is not attached to the person, but to the activity. Anyway, the subject seems to be fairly interesting, and it has been very cogently presented by our author. And during the course of this, he has given several anecdotes, several instances, both personal as well as what he could recollect from various people. and he delves very deeply with, let me read, fate. He was with free will. Then he propounded some critical mass theory, some occult themes. All these are there. It's an amalgamation of various things presented in a very rational form and in a very interesting way. And I am sure that this book, if you happen to read it, I think you will find it very interesting, illuminating, as well as somewhat path-breaking in many ideas. So all my congratulations to Ravi for producing one more book, and I wish him many success in his future endeavors, and I keenly look forward to his fourth book. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your forbearance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gopal Ratnam. Moving on to our next dignitary, I would like to introduce Dr. Natraj, IPS. Dr. Natraj, IPS is a retired Indian Police Service officer who also served as the former chairman of the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission. He is a doctorate in public administration from Madras University. He is known for his public service career that spans over 4 decades. That further continued after his retirement as Director General of General Police in 2011. Dr. Natraj is known for his innovative schemes in correctional administration and involvement in causes such as prisoner rehabilitation, education, health, anti-corruption, and environmental protection. He has served in various government departments at both the state level as well as the national level in an advisory capacity. He is currently the MLA for Mylapore constituency and continues to serve the state with utmost sincerity and dedication. I would now request Mr. Suraj Viswanathan to honor Dr. Natraj, IPS. Request Dr. Natraj to say a few words to us.
எல்லோருக்கும் இனிய மாலை வணக்கங்கள். As you could see, I was held up in the assembly session. So coming from there, and of course after attending a few other functions. So sorry for the little delay in coming here. Of course, Mr. Gopal Ratnam has given me that leverage. He said about this book, he said that the divine grace is not required. I don't agree with the... No, you never said that. Because of that particular thing. Because I know, I attended so many religious puja and all that, organized by Seshasai at Namakkal Anjaneer temple. So both... beginning of the new financial year and also half-yearly. Yes. So we do that. Anyway, it's a very good book. Of course, the title of the book itself is very catchy. Divine Entrepreneur. I don't know whether a politician can be called an entrepreneur. In fact, that set me thinking, because coming as I do from the government service, and after that, turning my attire from khaki to whites. But from what he was talking, when what Mr. Gopal Ratnam said and what Mr. VIswanathan has written, I feel you should say a politician is an entrepreneur, because it requires a lot of skills, a lot of administrative skills to survive in politics. So I think he should be called an entrepreneur. Of course, that other statistics which he gave, that 25% of the people in India are entrepreneurs. That's a very interesting thing, because when I was chairman TNPSC, Public Service Commission, we took a kind of a survey among the candidates.